Hi everyone, this is Adi from Adi's Crafts and Things. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to finish off your project so that you have a nice finish. You might be able to recognize this one from our last video where I taught you how to do the seaming. So I'm just going to show you how I would finish this and sew in the end so that it looks very nice and seamless and it's not going to show through on the other side. So at this point of the project, I've come to the point where I want to stop doing my joining. So what I've already done, you might be able to barely see it right here. I have already done a second loop. So I do this just so that it doesn't start separating too much after joining and after knotting it. So I'm going to do a second loop over this, and in this loop I will go ahead and thread my needle through the hole, and I'm going to pull. Now if you don't feel very comfortable or confident in your knotting, you can do one more just for good measure. And voila. Now from here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to thread this back. So because this yarn is variegated, you'll see obviously the difference in color throughout those rows. So I don't want to just go ahead and thread it here because then it will show on the other side of my project. So what I'm going to do is gently, I'm going to run my needle all the way back to the side where that color is, and I'm going to thread it in there. So I'm going to go back and forth where all the other stitches were on my seaming. Now if you had a solid color and it's not like changing like this one, or if you've done like a color blocking, then you probably won't need to run your needle back all the way down here. You'd be able to just sew your end there. But for this project in particular, I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. All right. So now that I'm at a point where, I'm just going to do one more, where the yarn looks very similar to this section here. Might be a little bit hard to see it. So now I'm gonna try to stick to this side as much as I can. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. Over here you'll be able to see the little V's from the ribbing. So I can try to just go through those, since it's one of the ways that I would sew my ends. And I'll just go lightly and gently on one of the loops, under one of the loops of each V. And you'll see how very nice and neat that looks. When I get to the end, or if I don't want to have a very long tail left over, you can just cross over for a moment and sew on the other side. These are a little bit tighter, sorry. Let's say that I just want to finish it there. You can tug a little bit just to make it a little bit tighter. And then grab your scissors and very gently cut the rest of that end. And then from here I'm going to stretch it out a little bit so that it's not very tight. And you'll see it's pretty much invisible on this end. And if I turn this over, you'll see that it's not very visible on this end either. Okay, so that's one way of sewing in your ends. If you have a project where the stitches vary a little bit, so for example, I have this Harriet shawl that I finished not too long ago, but I still need to sew in an end. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut my yarn here. Now with this one, because I only use this yarn on that last row for my edging, I'm gonna have to sew it in on that row. Again, if you didn't see on the last video how to thread your needle, I wrap it around the needle like that, nice and tight, slip the needle out, and then just push it through. Okay. Now with this one, you have very nice clear single crochets. So you can see the little V's formed from the back of those single crochets. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be going under those stitches, just like that. You don't have to do too many stitches for it to be secure. And again, you don't want to make it too tight, otherwise you're going to be pulling on the end of your thread on the edge here. Now to make sure that that end is nice and secure and doesn't show, I am going to go back. So on the last loop that I put my yarn under, I'm going to skip that one and go under the one after and thread it back. You don't have to do it the entire length, but definitely do a few stitches. Once you feel comfortable with the amount of yarn you threaded through, we're gonna grab our scissors. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a tiny bit. And I'm gonna cut my end. And then adjust it. And there you go. You can't even tell where that end is. And you can't see it on the other side either. So that's the basic of it. Hope that was helpful. I will have this shawl for sale on the website, and you can also find the pattern on the website. I'll just put the link on the description if you're interested in either of those things. And if you find this video helpful, make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you have any requests for any stitches that you want me to cover or any techniques, please just put it on the comments and I'll do my best to do a video explaining all those. In the meantime, you have a wonderful day and I will see you next week. Bye.